earphone.
I don't need earphone. इसका माइक नहीं चलता है क्या? Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to live class of KP. So I hope everybody is doing well and everybody has started their preparation for NATA in full swing, right? So let's get started. So today's agenda is that a lot of students came up with their doubts regarding that there won't be any drawing exam, right? Every year, like in past every year, NATA used to conduct a drawing examination also, but after the pandemic, they had done away with the drawing part. So this year also they have continued with the same criteria. They are having cognitive design test. Okay, now a lot of students are still confused about the cognitive design test, and we are getting a lot of queries last minute where students want to know what it is all about, and they are also eager to prepare about it, right? So yes, we do have a section in NATA examination which will be judging the design sensibility of the student, but then the question is how will it be done, and what are the prerequisites, what are the criteria that the student needs to understand and take care so that they can perform well in these particular questions and perform well in their NATA examination. So I hope all of you are joining. Please comment your queries. We will definitely get back to you. You can also see the phone numbers there in the link below. You can call us up and directly speak to the counselors and faculties and get guidance regarding your examination. Also, before we start, please subscribe to our channel, KP Classes Exam Prep. It will help you to be updated with the latest information about your entrance exam preparations. Also, you will be seeing a lot of live videos, lot of live demo classes which we upload on our YouTube channel to help all the students, right? So today we are focusing, our main focus is on NATA students and their preparation, right? So let's get started, and also don't forget to download our application. Again, it's the same name, KP Classes Exam Prep, and you can get access to a lot of study material which is free for students, right? And please also get in touch with us. So can we all see what is there on the screen, right? So it's a nice colorful pattern. Now what is this pattern called? Yes, this will be the criteria for your judgment. You will be given a lot of images. You will be given a lot of, it can be pattern, it can be photographs, it can be drawings, and students are supposed to choose the right option. Okay, now somebody might say that this is something geometric, this is a very balanced looking pattern, or this is a tile, but there is a specific name to it, right? And that is exactly what we will be helping you out in through our courses. The NATA crash course that we are offering to the students will be dealing with these sort of questions, right? So for example, they might ask you, what is this pattern called? Okay, and certain options will be given below this particular image. The options could be break repeat, or symmetrical pattern, or tessellation, or Islamic pattern. So you will be getting lot of options, and you have to choose the correct option, and choosing the correct option will require a lot of study, right? You need to study certain topics that we have in our course curriculum that covers the cognitive design test. I'm not giving you the answer right now because I want you to take some pain in researching what I'm exactly talking about. Okay, so you can also get a question related to the color scheme, that what is the color scheme which has been used in this particular pattern, or what are the number of shapes, or what are the number of color, right? Somebody might say that the number of color is let's count. Somebody might say 4, somebody might say 5, okay, somebody might say 6, right? So depending upon the option you have to choose. Now why I am giving you certain numbers is because we can see a white, right? It's little off whitish, but they can make it white as well, and they can ask you how many colors can you see over here. So please remember that white is also a color, and you have to count it. You have to also count the color of the outline, right? So these are the kind of questions that you will be getting in your cognitive design test. So let's look at another image over here. Now again, looks like a pattern. Again, it's a pattern, but what is it called? Now you must be thinking, okay, this definitely doesn't look geometric, so is it called a fish pattern, right? But you have to actually use the right terminology, right? So what is that right terminology? For that you have to study. You have to go through the whole process of, okay, what are the elements, what are the principles, which principle, under which particular principle these patterns fall, what are the other segregation or of patterns, how many type of patterns are there. So you need to study all those things and start recognizing and start practicing those things, then only you will get the right terminology. They can give you certain options over here. The option could be, is it organic pattern, natural pattern, fish pattern, again animal tessellation, is it transformation, right? So they might be a little confusing also, and you have to use the right option. Other questions, other sort of questions which can be asked depending upon this particular image is, what design principle or what visual perception, principle of visual perception has been used over here, right? So is it figure and ground, is it rhythm? Okay, so students might again get very confused that, okay, I can see rhythm also, I can see the play of figure and ground, the play of negative and positive area is also there. So what should I focus on? A lot of students, they come up with these sort of queries, right? So look at this and think about it. If you have already studied certain topics, certain theories, then you will be able to answer these questions properly. Okay, then also you could be asked about number of colors that has been used. Are there certain hues, certain tints or certain shades present in this particular image or not? So again, the color theory plays a very important part in recognizing certain aspects of drawing and design, okay, about certain images that has been shown to you. Let's go further. Okay, we have another beautiful looking pattern in front of us. Isn't it looking very soothing? What does it remind you guys of? Does it remind you of some tile, or maybe a print or a pattern on a bed sheet or a carpet? Or have you seen this pattern on a particular um, furniture piece, right? So try and recognize certain things in this particular manner, that where have you seen these particular thing in front of you, and then go deeper into it. Now again, this pattern is also very specific to certain geographical location. Okay, this pattern is called definitely it's geometric, and it's part of your Islamic pattern. And there's another name which has been given to it, which is geometric tessellation. Okay, so if you dig deep into what Islamic or Moroccan patterns are all about, you will come to know that they are the geometric ones. They form tessellation. What is tessellation? Today only somebody asked me, a student asked me that, okay ma'am, while studying in class, they questioned me that what's the difference between tessellation and principle of figure and ground. So they were both very different aspects, but the student was getting little confused, and I explained her what it was. So that's the benefit of taking certain live classes, where you can directly ask your doubts to the faculties. And guys, this is high time right now. If you have not yet enrolled, so please look into the NATA crash course provided by KP Classes. All your queries regarding the cognitive design test will be solved. You will be taught the recognizing different visuals, okay, different elements, principles, the theory of perspective, everything will be taught to you, and a lot of practice we will be doing in terms of looking at images and recognizing what they are, right? So what can be the other questions based on this particular image? Think about it. Color is a very important aspect over here. So are these complementary colors, or are they harmonious color or analogous color? Harmonious and analogous colors are the same, so do they fall under that particular scheme? Are these cool colors, or are these cool plus neutral colors, right? So you might be asked a lot of questions based on even only one image as well. You might have a series of questions based on just one image. So you should be able to have an approach like in the maximum format, okay, not just from one particular aspect, but from all the aspect, from the aspect of understanding the shape, what sort of a shapes are being used over here, where is this pattern coming from? Is it an Indian pattern? Is it African pattern? Or what is the geographical location of a particular pattern that you need to know? Are the colors, what are the color schemes? What are the number of colors, number of shapes which are over here? So there are so many things that would be asked to you, and be open to them, right? And also what sort of a repeat has been used over here. So these are the kind of questions that we can look forward to. Again, another beautiful image. Again, what does it look like? Does it look like tiles? Does it look like some very intricate work on maybe a wall or a ceiling of a beautiful monument, right? So I hope guys you are enjoying this particular session. Please put your comments on and ask us any questions and queries if you have. We will be more than happy to clear them up. Okay, so once again we are looking at a geometric pattern, right? And up till now you must have understood where it is coming from, okay? What sort of a color scheme is there, right? and how many colors are there. So these are the kind of questions we just spoke about. One more thing that I want to add over here: what sort of a balance are we looking at? Okay, if you agree with me, this whole image, this whole pattern looks very balanced. In fact, some of the previous patterns also that we looked at had the element of balance in it. But now you have to recognize that particular element of balance. Now what is it? Is it rhythm, or is it emphasis, or is it balance, radial balance that has been used over here? So these are the kind of options that you might come across, and you have to pick up the right option. Okay, so this is very easy to recognize. This is simply the most dominant principle over here is of radial balance, right? So before we say that it's a very rhythmic pattern or something, we would say this has radial balance. Why? Because the whole motif, the whole pattern is radiating from one particular center point, right? Which is very obvious over here. So moving ahead, talking more about patterns. So here we are. What do we have over here? First of all, my question to the viewers: is it a form or is it a shape? Okay, that's my first question to the viewers over here. So some people might say, okay, it's a form. Some people might say it's a shape. Yes, it is a shape. Why? It's a shape of a flower. It's completely 2D. Okay, so shapes are enclosed area, enclosed 2D space. Okay, and this has been inspired by a natural thing, which is a flower. So it's a natural shape or an organic shape. Now this one single unit of the design, what is it called? If you can write it down in the comment section, it will be great. So we have a pattern in front of us, but what do we call that one single unit of design? So please write it down in the comment section. Okay, I would like to know what it is. Let me see how many of you get it right. So also my next question is, what color scheme do we see in this particular pattern? So this is my 6th slide, and I have already put 2 questions in front of you. Let's see how many of you get it right. Okay, so please do tell me what the color scheme is and what is the single unit of a design is called. Okay, moving ahead. Now I was talking about, I used the word tessellation in my previous slides. Now will you call this also a tessellation? Or if we are not calling it a tessellation, then why we are not calling it a tessellation, right? That is one thing. Also, what sort of a principle of design have we used over here? Now guys, I am talking about, I'm putting these questions across because these are the kind of questions that you will be asked based on a particular image, and you should be ready to approach it from multiple directions, right? So next is number of colors. How many colors do we see in this particular image, right? And color scheme, of course, I'm waiting for your answers in terms of what the color schemes are, right? And what sort of a repeat is it? Is it an alternate repeat? Is it a horizontal repeat, a vertical repeat, brick repeat, right? Or is it going in an ascending order, descending order? So these are the kind of questions that you will be asked in exam, most probably. Moving ahead. Okay, so another image on our screen, right? And what comes to your mind once you're looking at it? You might think about, okay, this is a forest, and the view of the photographs, the view and everything, it consists of trees, very tall trees which are there in a forest. Now, the question is, what balance can we see in this particular image? Okay, so we are not talking about perspective over here, guys. The first thing that must have come to your mind is, oh, this is bug's eye view, right? I'm sure a lot of you must be thinking about it, but no, I'm not talking about the perspective I'm not about it from a perspective point of view, but I'm talking about it from the design principle point of view. Like if somebody would ask you that what balance is this, then what should be your answer? Okay. Now remember radial balance that we spoke about a few slides back, where we said that in radial balance there is a center point and all the elements are radiating from that particular center. So yeah, the balance that we see over here is radial balance. You might be asked questions regarding the kind of perspective that we have over here. Okay. Now, the same image, but now I am asking you, what view can you see? Just to give you an example that the same image could be used again and again in your examination, and they can frame a different question based on that particular single image. Okay, so please again guys, get started with your preparation, right? If you haven't touched these topics, so please start your preparation right away. These are equally important topics, and this will help you score, right? And this will also help you improve your aesthetic sensibility. Once you go into a college, you would require these aesthetic sensibility also to come up with good designs, to come up with something very impactful, right? So please take this particular examination very, very seriously. Don't think that there are multiple attempts, so if not this time, then you can do better in the next attempt. Definitely you can do better, but you have to start today itself. We still have some time, and we are still on with our NATA crash course classes, and we are taking admissions. There are students who are coming in, and we will be giving them at this point of time. Of course they would require more attention, and their course will be covered. There are 6-7 topics which are part of the cognitive design test of NATA examination, and we will be covering it for our students. Okay, so let's move ahead, guys. Again, we have a similar image, and we are talking about balance over here, right? And not necessary that all the image where we have a bug's eye view should be a radial balance, right? It can be somebody can show you an image which is still a bug's eye view but can have a very asymmetrical balance in it, or it can have a symmetrical balance in it. So be very aware. Read these topics thoroughly so that you can recognize and you can answer the question properly. So again, we have this very beautiful dreamy image in front of us. So what colors are these? What color scheme do you think has been used over here? Right? So is it contrasting color scheme, or is it tetradic color scheme, or are these harmonious color, right? Or are these certain tone or certain shade of a particular color? What are these? So try and recognize them, right? And also, as you can see, now we again have a bug's eye view over here, but it's not like a radial balance. It's simply a bird's eye view, and also colors are playing a very important part over here, right? So think about it, what color, what sort of balance do we see over here, right? What are the shapes that we are seeing over here? So you need to be aware about each and everything. Okay, so next is this. Now you must have recognized very common thing, and the most important part that you study in your NATA preparation. Yes, you're right, perspective. So what is perspective? Perspectives are viewpoints, right? So the way you look at something, and perspective rules and perspective drawing helps us to draw certain 3D space to give depth to a particular image on a 2D surface. Okay, now this is simply a photograph which has been clicked. So we see what aspects do we have over here. So we have a vanishing point, and as we can see, all the receding lines, the lines which are going away from you, all the receding lines are going and converging at one point. Okay, you might be asked to determine the position of the viewer, right? So on the screen, maybe on the image, there can be certain position A, position B, position C, and you might be asked that from which position the viewer has clicked this picture, or the viewer is looking through which position, right? There is a possibility. Also, this is very simple to understand. This is a 1-point perspective image. I know the eye level is like somebody is standing and looking at it, okay? But again, very balanced image as well. It has symmetry in it if we look at it in that particular manner. If we look at this photograph not from the perspective of 1 point or 2 point, but from the perspective of elements of design, then we see symmetry over here. Why do we see symmetry over here? Because the left and the right is identical. Okay, so I hope you are getting this, and please put your queries on the comment section, right? It will help us to improve better, and we will be able to come up with much more better content for you guys. And for people who have just joined in, I would like to repeat that kindly subscribe to our channel, KP Classes Exam Prep. It will be very helpful for you in the long run if you are preparing for certain competitive examinations in the field of architecture or in the field of design. Okay, we will be putting up a lot of videos for our students which will be helpful for them in terms of their preparation. And also download our app, KP Classes Exam app. You will be getting access to a lot of test series, and past year question paper solutions are also present over there, which will be pretty helpful for you. Okay, so now we have two images in front of us. So what are the difference in these two images, right? What is the major thing that you can see? And I'm not talking about those flying dragons and those flying entities in the first image, but there is something else that I'm talking about. So from the point of view of a person who's preparing for architecture, the first thing that you would notice is that the first image lacks depth. Okay, it doesn't have depth. It doesn't have a proper perspective, right? So that particular painting lacks depth of perspective, and that's absolutely fine. Maybe that was what the painter wanted to portray, but since we are trying to recognize certain things from our exam point of view, so here we have the second image where we can see that depth is there. It's looking very realistic. You can understand the length or the width of that particular building. There is proportion, there is perspective in it, there is depth in that particular image. right? So you might be shown certain images, and in comparison to both the images, you might have to also pick up certain differences. Options will be given to you and you have to pick up the right option. Okay. Also, guys, don't forget to look at don't forget to study about certain monuments. Okay, certain monuments which have created a benchmark in history, certain paintings which have created a benchmark in the history. Please don't forget to go through it, right? Those things are also very important because they help you to understand aesthetics. They help you to understand certain things, what used to be prevalent in the past, okay, what sort of a building, what sort of a lifestyle people used to have, and everything has an impact on today's world and today's design scenario. So you should be aware of these things as well. So here we have a particular image. Now, what view is it? Right? Is it a 2-point perspective? Is it a 3-point perspective? Is it a 1-point perspective? So you might be shown certain visuals, and they might also ask you about the style of the building. Like we saw in the previous images, we saw a certain particular style representing a particular era. Okay. Similarly, this image is representing a particular style of a building, and it's representing a particular era, right? Apart from that, what perspective is it? What sort of a viewpoint is it? Right? You have guessed it right. It is a bird's eye view. But my question is, do you think there is this sort of a building, it has a specific name, right? What sort of a landscape is it? So dig deep into your study material and try to find answers, and try again, I'll repeat that you have to whenever you're looking at an image, you have to have multiple approach. You have to think in multiple manners. What color scheme has been used over here in this building, right? Are these pop colors or are these neutrals? What style is it of the building? So all of these things you have to keep in mind. So again, we have this particular image in front of us, right? So what perspective do you think it is? Is it a bird's eye view, or is it a simple 2-point perspective image? Right? Certain images could be very, very confusing, and you might not understand that, okay, what should be the right answer. So the first thing is, your approach should be, when you look at an image, you try and guess what the answer could be, and then look for the options which have been given to you, and try to eliminate the wrong options and stick to the options which you feel are the correct, and choose in that. So I always suggest students to eliminate the wrong ones, eliminate the options which are not suitable, and then go for the best options. So what do you think the question would be over here? Right? So you might be thinking, okay, the question could be based on color scheme, right? Or the question could be based on negative and positive area, or what principle is it following? Is it following emphasis through color? Is it following emphasis through contrast? Okay. Is the negative area trying to communicate certain things with us? Is it trying to show balance, symmetrical balance or asymmetrical balance? Or is it showing a rhythm or a pattern? So a number of questions can arise through one particular image, right? So that is exactly what we are doing during our live sessions. We show the students a lot of images, and we want them to recognize and identify what the question would be, and we put up certain questions, and in case they are not able to answer it, obviously we would explain them that if it's a tessellation, then why is it a tessellation, how a tessellation is different from a pattern, right? What is the play of negative and the positive area? Do tessellations have a negative and a positive area, right? So these kind of questions we put up, and we do a comparison, and we explain the students through examples. That's the best way to study, right? Through visuals, through examples. Moving ahead. Okay. So, do you find this recognizable? Have you seen this somewhere? My question is over here, what sort of principle of design is being used? Is it emphasis, or is it balance, or is it rhythm? What is it? What are the color schemes that have been used in this particular image? Are these neutral colors, or is it achromatic color scheme, right? How do you decide all these things? So you have to come up with the right answer, whether it's a achromatic color scheme, whether it's a neutral color scheme, whether it is contrast, whether it is emphasis through certain shape that has been given over here, right? So again, as and when we move ahead, we see that the images that are shown to us might be little complicated, okay, but then it's not really impossible to recognize them, because in the past years also they came up with a lot of questions. The questions were based on perspective, right? Certain sentences were given in a cognitive design test, and they were supposed to pick up the right sentence, okay? So these are the kind of questions that you will be faced with. So here we have another image, a beautiful image of fallen leaves, maple leaves, right? Again, which symbolizes autumn, right? So what do we see here? What sort of a shape do we see here? The first shape, of course, that comes to our mind are, these are organic shapes, right? These are organic or natural shapes. Then there is an emphasis that has been created through color, okay? So we are focusing on that one particular leaf which is still colorful. So emphasis, we can see a lot of emphasis. We see a lot of unity and variety also over here. The principle of unity and variety, right? Unity in terms of the type of leaf that we are seeing, and variety in terms of the color of the leaves that we are seeing over here, okay? So I hope this is getting a little clearer to you guys, and I hope all of you are enjoying this session, and it is helpful for you. Do get in touch with us in case you have certain queries. We will be more than happy to help you out. So here we have the second last image that we are seeing, okay? So you might again be asked that what material do you think it is? You might be asked questions in terms of material, right? Or in terms of pattern. What sort of a pattern is it? Is it a horizontal pattern, vertical pattern, alternate pattern? What is it? Then they can also ask you to maybe count the shapes, because if you look at it from a distance, and if you just assume that these are not forms and these are shapes, then what shape do we look at? Is there a rhythm being created? Is there a movement in this particular image? right? Is it a tessellation? Once again, is it a tessellation or a simple repeat, or is it a transformative image transformation happening over here, right? So again, a number of questions can be asked to you based on any particular image. The most important topics could be perspective, and here let's have a glimpse of again something which I feel is extremely important, and that is study of logo. Okay, so here we can see various logos. You might be individually shown certain logos and might be asked what sort of a principle has been used during designing of that particular logo. So there are certain visual perception theories, certain principles that we teach to our students, and that helps the student to recognize. Okay, it helps the student to recognize the most dominant principle which is present in a particular design of a logo. And these logo designs, which are the most famous logo designs in the world, they always follow certain principles. Why? Because following those principles would increase the aesthetic value of any particular artwork. Number one, it increases the understanding of that particular subject, and which will be very useful for students who are going to be architects in the future, right? So study of logo designing also is extremely important. I would suggest you not to miss this particular topic. Read about the most common logo which are present, which have been designed nationally also and internationally also, and try and study that what sort of a principle do they follow, what elements are there, do they have an element of shape, or they have used organic shape, or is it element of space that they are playing around with, or is it the principle of closure or figure in ground. So all these things you have to be thorough with. They are not very difficult, but you have to be aware, and you have to have a proper approach towards studying these things, and that's where we will be helping you out and solving your queries, and making you aware about these particular topics. So we still have few days in hand, we still have few days left. If you feel that you are lacking somewhere, you can feel free to call the counselors to get in touch with us, right? We have our live classes going on with students on a daily basis, and it will be a pleasure helping all you students out. So people, please do comment, put your comments below and tell us how was this session, was it helpful for us. We are open to suggestions also. If you are looking for something specific, you can let us know. We still have few live sessions which we will be coming up with, and tomorrow again I am coming up with a live session. We will be taking a new topic, and I will be introducing you to that particular topic and giving you certain tips and certain tricks that can be really helpful for you for your NATA examination. Okay, so all the best everybody. Thanks for joining us, thanks for being part of this particular streaming session, and hope you study well, you score good marks, and keep subscribing and taking the benefits of all these videos and study material that KP Classes is providing you. Okay, all the best students. Thank you so much.